You are listening to Comedy Club for Kids presents Radio Nonsense, Radio Nonsense, Radio Nonsense, Radio Nonsense, Radio Nonsense. Welcome woon Radio Tonsons, cheek official omedy flub for Pids Codcast. Mang on a winnet, what's wappin' my vi toys? Hold on, dove mat tile by it. There you go. Sorry, we've had a new system fitted in as our one was infested with stinky hippos that you'd all sent in. And I called in experts, but they just couldn't remove the smell, like someone had burnt bad old socks full of sick and made a stew out of them. So now we've got this new one that I received in a box, and I had to build it myself, but I'm not sure I've run it dight. No, oh! Dit's on it again! Right, I think I've accidentally stuck one of the spoons to one of the Jack-in-the-Boxes, or maybe put one of the weasels in there upside down. I'm sure I'll fix it eventually. Anyway, at least it doesn't smell, right? That's what's most important. So, welcome to the podcast. You know, the one that is ootable for salfrages on Bumpoo Bawilliot. Ma! Right. I think that's it now. I've put the weasel in the yoghurt pot. I think that's where it goes. And I hit the big bit with an inflatable hammer. I'm sure that'll be fine. I really don't understand all this tech or things like coding or programming. I mean, if you asked me to talk in a block-based language, I'd just say square, square, cube, box, square, square, cube. And no one would have a clue what I was talking about. The closest I've ever managed to any sort of clever things like that was I once managed to unscramble some scrambled egg. But all the message told me was that I'd ruined the yolk. Anyway, welcome to the show. I hope you are well, but not A-well, as that would mean people would just keep putting a bucket in your head to get some water, and that sounds very uncomfortable. Then again, you'd never be thirsty, so I suppose that would be good. I've been trying to teach my daughter this week how jokes work. She is 3 and she doesn't really have a clue how to make jokes or really what jokes are, even though she laughs at a lot of stuff. So I've been trying to help her learn, and I thought I'd tell you her first ever joke that she has written herself. Are you ready? It's a knock-knock joke, but as it's only me here and you can't reply, I'll be both the person knocking and the person on the other side of the door, which is quite confusing and can only really happen if future me travelled back in time to annoy past me by knocking on the door while I was in the middle of doing something else, like trying to work out how to get to the future. Anyway, just for you, my daughter's joke is, knock knock, who's there? Ghost. Ghost who? Sally Ghost. Whoa, that's amazing, right? I mean, that joke is not even so much a joke, it just raises a lot of questions, right? It's quite philosophical. You know, like, Sally Ghost, right? So do all ghosts have the surname Ghost? Do people automatically get the surname Ghost if they become a ghost? Or is Sally Ghost just a woman whose name is Sally Ghost? And if so, why is she coming round? Or is it the ghost of knocking on people's doors now that you can't really do that in a pandemic unless you're delivering something, or, you know, you're yourself from the future and you have to do a knock-knock joke for the sake of a podcast? It's very complicated. There's a lot to it. I hope you enjoyed it. I'm very proud of my daughter, and I'll let you know if she comes up with any more like that. Of course, if you have any jokes you've written that you'd like to send in, or questions you need answering, or anything at all really, then get your frowny whinge grown-ups, to help you email us at podcast@comedyclubforkids.co.uk. Site, our non-tith were days row. There's a bit of string that's attached to a piece of pasta that's connected to a wheel that works the keyboard with a series of pretzel sticks. Anyway, seems the weasels appeared to have weed on that, so you listen to this week's show, and I'll see if I can get some kitchen towel and fix it again. Here's the important bit.
The safe and effective way to clean and dry your ears.
On today's show, I am joined once again by the brilliant Eleanor Morton, aka Eleanor, arch enemy of Ecuador. Doesn't quite rhyme, but that was their choice, not yours. Head of the Shave the Tiger campaign, and of course, the inventor of fizzy cheese sauce, which is what everyone knows you for. How are you doing, Eleanor? It's lovely to have you back.
I'm all right, thank you. Yeah, did you get the free fizzy cheese sauce I sent you? I sent you a crate to...
Yes, it was a lot, actually. It's lovely to have a freebie like that. I didn't expect quite so much of it. Yeah.
Yeah, well, it's, you know, you've got to be careful when you ship it as well. It doesn't get shooken around too much because it can go everywhere.
That was...
but yeah, I mean, like...
Yeah, what happened? I was going to say that our kitchen is still covered in fizzy cheese.
That's a shame.
Yeah.
It does say on the side of the bottles, like, store it for like a couple of months before you use it, and then but I hope you really enjoyed licking it off the walls.
That's actually what we did, and I have to say, that's it was one of the serving suggestions on the side of the box, which I thought was nice. Was try having it on the walls and licking it off as a snack, or perhaps in addition to your lunchtime. And I thought that was really wise of you, because that is what we had to do.
Yeah, thank you.
Yeah.
Well, I feel like people don't really talk about the depth of things you can do with cheese. People are pretty boring: sandwiches, toasties on some pasta, and we're just innovators. We like to think of all the options. So it means a lot that you tried that. Actually, thank you.
No, I appreciate you saying it. I mean, fizzy was I think the one thing everyone was missing, wasn't it? Like as you said, there's so many cheese possibilities, even sort of cheesecakes. Fizzy though, that's
cheesecakes. You can squirty cheese. That's the thing.
Yes, of course. Yeah.
Slices of cheese. Melted cheese. Cheese that's toasted cheese.
Of course, yes.
Why not make it fizzy? I mean, obviously, it is difficult to make a milk product fizzy without completely ruining it, but I don't think we've done that. Mostly.
Can I ask? Did it start with fizzy milk? Did you start with fizzy? Was it fizzy milk first? Just because you mentioned it there, I wondered if that was how the ideas process started.
Yeah, no, it was a mix up with a soda stream and some cheddar cheese. I wasn't really paying attention. I put the cheddar cheese in instead of the water for the to be made gaseous, and fizzy cheese. And at first I was like, oh no, what have I done? And then I tasted it and I was like, well, obviously this is amazing. And so I went online immediately. I was like, copyrighted.
Good work.
Quickly.
Yeah, good work.
Patent for that, because if you don't do that quickly, people just get in there, they'll just snatch your ideas. And it was just a homegrown business. So again, you are supporting a small business by promoting that, and I do appreciate that.
Well, no, of course. And if any listeners want to get on the case, I really do recommend fizzy cheese. Quite good with a fizzy burger, I found as well, actually. And a sort of there's a number of meals that you can have a good bit of fizzy cheese with.
Loads, really absolutely loads.
Yeah. Are there any other sort of new fizzy products in there? I mean, obviously, I don't want to. I worry that someone will take your idea, and you don't want to give much.
No, it's fine, because it's all on our website, www.fizzycheese.com. But so people can look that up. We have patented that, so nobody steal that. But no, there are several dairy products we've branched out into. Obviously got fizzy cheese, we've got fizzy non-dairy cheese.
Oh, that's good. That's good.
Yeah, well, we want to make sure everyone has access to fizzy cheese, and just because you might be lactose intolerant shouldn't exclude you. And then we're also thinking about fizzy tube yogurt.
Oh,
nice. Like a frube.
Yeah, that's good.
Yeah. That's for lunch packs.
Wow. Can I tell you one thing that I've been curious about? I've never tried it, but fizzy Marmite. Now, I know it's not a dairy product, but fizzy Marmite, I feel like sometimes I have Marmite and I'm like, can you imagine if this was fizzy though?
Yeah. I mean, I have thought that pretty much every time I've had Marmite. The problem there is that Big Marmite are very possessive about the Marmite recipe.
Sure.
Yeah, I mean, it is just yeast, but they're very, they don't want to mess with big business. So I potentially have thought about approaching them, but it really just depends how well the rest of our products do.
Well, I hope they get on board with that. I think that's what the world's asking for. And then you can have fizzy Marmite with fizzy cheese, which is obviously a winning toasty. So yeah, a combination of everything. And if you can, if you can keep discussing it, and if you do have any fizzy cheese meals, do Instagram them. Put it out on the web so people can see. Hashtag it fizzy cheese. Then that just helps the brand to thrive. Well, good luck with it. I think it's really exciting. It's so exciting that that this past year has been difficult, but seeing people like you come up with new ideas and really sort of blossom with things like fizzy cheese.
It's been a great time.
It's been pretty good.
Yeah, it's just a great time to regroup and think what comes next. We're going to Mars. We're looking at new ways of renewable energy. What comes next? And the answer is fizzy cheese.
Of course, it makes perfect sense when you lay it out like that as well. That is the natural progression of the humankind. I
exactly.
think, That's fantastic, brilliant. Well, I mean, I was gonna ask you, how you getting on. Obviously, that's going very well. But last time,
Takes up a lot of time.
yeah, I was gonna say last time we checked in with you, you had a lot of excitement that there was gerbils and hedgehogs. You had a veritable sort of zoo going on at your home.
It was
I think.
all
Yeah.
it was all happening. The hedgehog has gone for now because it's not hedgehog season. I think they're still hibernating. So I have not seen it. The gerbils are still here. Yeah, I know, isn't it? I think they're coming out again soon because it has now been a year since last time. Maybe I'm not sure.
Yeah, I think so. Nearly, yeah,
something like that. So yeah, they'll be back. I hope, but we've still got the gerbils are still there. We have now gotten so invested in their lives because they're more exciting that every day we have treat time and we all gather around the cage and one of us gets to be the one that gives them the treat, and they wake up at the merest rustle of the box, and then we open the little door and then they come and they take it and then they go and they eat it, and for those like 2 minutes where they're eating the snack, you can stroke them and they won't sort of run away because their brains aren't big enough to have more than one
it's kind of
concept
a trick,
at a time.
It's kind of a treat. You're like, here's a treat, haha, now I get to stroke you.
Yeah, and you don't have the capacity to know. You can either choose to be aware of potential predators, or you can have a nice snack. You can't do both.
That's fair. I mean,
so
I'm very much the same. If I'm eating a sandwich, anyone could ruffle my hair, and I wouldn't do a thing about it.
Well, exactly. Yeah, and I don't think that's a terrible thing. I think that they're having a great time. So I don't know. I can't remember if this is before or after I spoke to you, but a moth got into the cage. Did I tell you about that?
No, you didn't, and this sounds incredible.
A moth got in.
What?
It was the most exciting thing for like 3 straight months. Just one day in summer last year, because they've never seen another animal apart from us. So, and then this moth flaps into the cage. My dad, he likes to categorize moths, so he has a trap that not a dangerous trap. It's just basically a big light.
Yeah.
And you put it out at night time, and then the moths come and gather round, and then you in the morning you see which ones are there, and you put them in a little moth case.
Yeah,
everyone's
like
got one of those
catcher things. And our daughter's got one, a little plastic one that's got a hole in it that bugs then just come out of again. Like, it's a really rubbish one. Because I've caught a bug, it's just got away again. It's rubbish.
Well, your 3-year-old daughter and my pensioner father have much in common, because he also spends his time collecting bugs, and then he goes to his moth books and he looks at what moth it is, and he tells us, and we say, oh, and then he lets it out again, and that's the whole thing. Lots of different fun breeds. Anyway, one of them, I think.
I don't know. I was going to say. Well, I was just going to say, you get interest in moths, because like we only get those, like the little ones that eat all your clothes. We only.
We also get them.
Good moths lately. Only seen really.
There's been some great moths.
Are there?
We've had some the big fluffy ones. Have you ever seen those?
You get big fluffy moths.
Yeah,
they look almost
fluffy
cute.
ones.
Like, they're almost like ones that you want to stroke.
Cute.
Look at this fluffy moth. Yeah.
They've got little fluffy ears, sort of little antennae that are all fluffy.
Yeah, I like those ones. They're much better.
A lot of fun.
And they don't eat your clothes, because they'd tear a big old hole out of a t-shirt or something, wouldn't they? They'd be awful if they did that.
Yeah, they would eat a glove in a minute.
Yeah.
No, it's just the wee ones, just those silvery ones
really
that eat
annoying ones.
wool, I think.
Yeah.
No, the other ones are fine. I don't know what they eat. I'm not a moth expert, so
no,
nobody can write in and complain.
No, that's true. I just sort of wonder if maybe it's if the little ones eat clothes, maybe the bigger ones eat armor or something. Maybe it's sort of
like the bigger the moth, the bigger the thing.
Yeah, and then they
eat the denser the material. Like the wee ones eat cloth, and then the really big ones eat concrete.
Yes, maybe that's it. Maybe when you see potholes, it's because a big moth has been around.
Big moths come in the night. Yeah, that's when they're out.
Of course, yeah, makes sense. Yeah, and street lamps that'll attract them.
Yes, so you got to be careful they don't eat those.
Yeah, it's a lot.
The big ones.
Yes. Sorry, I was interrupting you. You were going to say what happened when the moth went in the cage. It sounds exciting.
I mean, not much, to be honest, but the whole thing was the novelty of seeing them, the gerbils, react to a moth, and just very much the faces of them being like, what on earth is this? I don't have a concept of what this is. It's in our house. It has, it's not those big people that give us the food. It's something completely different. I don't know. Should we try and eat it? Should we try, or should we be afraid? I don't know. And it was this real existential crisis, as much as a gerbil can have one, for a whole 5 minutes there before it went out again. And that doesn't sound like a lot, but that kept us going entertainment-wise for quite a few months.
For a gerbil, that's quite a long time as well. I thought, yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, it's just one of those things that I've never even thought about this till you just mentioned it. But like, if you're a little pet that say only ever lived indoors, like say even like gerbils or like a fish in a bowl, you've never seen anything. Like you have no idea of anything else other than big people's faces. Yeah.
Yeah.
That must be
absolutely.
Mad. Like absolutely.
Must have been. It would be like if. It'd be like if a Martian crash landed in your house, like a space alien. You know, it would be just as weird and annoying because that's your personal space.
Yeah, I wouldn't, and also especially at the moment, like as we're talking, you're not allowed to visit people's homes. It would be a bit like, can you get out? Like you've got.
Yeah, well, it was not a social distancing moth. Didn't seem to care about that, but they're fine.
Good.
So. Yeah,
well, that's very exciting. What an exciting thing! I think I just having gerbils. I'm trying to remember. Is it one was called Mac? Was it? Is that right? And what was the other one?
One was called Mac, and one was called Charlie.
Mac and Charlie, yeah.
After a grown-up TV show.
Yes, that's right. But also, they do sound like they sort of sing easy listening hits and. Possibly like plan heists in casinos and something. Yeah, they've got. There's really good names for gerbils. Properly good.
I would watch that film.
Yeah, me too. Absolutely, Mac and Charlie and the big heist. Yeah, and the big moth.
Well,
yeah.
The thing is about being well, the moth's on board. The moth's what could a moth do in a heist gang?
Yeah, that's probably cover the lights. I don't know. Either cover the lights, or you send them in first because they can scout. They can fly about and scout around.
Yes, I think they'd be your scout. And then gerbils, obviously, they can get into things that humans can't, like air vents.
Yes,
it's actually much easier for a gerbil to infiltrate a bank or a casino.
Yes, I'd say the biggest problem would be that they probably wouldn't be very good with anything. That they wouldn't want to take money because gerbils don't really spend money, so they'd have to go in and get all the cheese nibbles or something.
They'd build a nest out of the money. They'd chew it up and then they'd make a lovely little bed. Yeah, but you don't really want to be chewing money. I don't think that's hygienic.
No, but I also really like the idea that the casino would be like, "Where's all our money gone?" And then it would just be like all pooed on and half chewed. It wouldn't have been spent on like a helicopter or a cool holiday or something. They'd just be like, "Oh, you pooed on it. Oh, this is terrible."
You know, the thing is, with a lot of money, with £1 million, you could buy a mansion. But with £1 million in banknotes, a gerbil can just chew its own mansion into being.
That's amazing.
So, the money's going to the same thing in the end.
I feel like something would be a lot more wholesome about a whole series of gerbil films where instead of trying to get the money or save whoever, like the whole thing is, well, we just want to chew even.
We just
bigger
love to nibble.
Homes. Yeah, there's something really nice about that cinematic universe, and I would definitely pay money for that. Absolutely.
Yeah, well, you could do an art heist one where they go into a big gallery and they just nibble a Rembrandt down to a sort of pile of crumbs.
That's beautiful.
Isn't that nice?
Yeah, this is good. I think this is your next franchise after the fizzy cheese. This is where you need to the gerbil cinematic universe.
Well, you shouldn't. Yeah, and never the twain shall meet, because you shouldn't give fizzy cheese to gerbils. Oh, goodness. FYI, no. If anyone's thinking about that.
Yeah, I don't really even go into that, but I can imagine it's catastrophic. And I hope that you didn't
not good for
test. I'm guessing you didn't test the fizzy cheese.
No testing on animals.
Good.
No, just on my brother, who didn't have a choice.
Well, that's different anyway. Brothers are there for those sorts of siblings are entirely there for experiments that you shouldn't do on any other living creature.
Yeah, and he'll eat anything, so...
Yeah, it's fair. Good.
Yeah.
Good. Well, fascinating. That's amazing. And I look now. I realise that the last time that you were on, I asked you lots of things about. Well, you gave quite a lot of tips last time, as you have done this time already, about being stuck at home. Last time you gave brilliant tips on having a home zoo. And so I just wondered if there's any new tips that you got, because a lot of listeners are back at school now, but they're still stuck at home on weekends and evenings. And I wonder if you've got any sort of new tips for things that they might be able to do if they're just bored with being at home.
Yeah, no, I've been working on another project which I like to call edible Lego. What that is you can edible Lego. What you do is, I mean, a bit misleading, but what it is the good thing about pasta is it comes in a lot of different shapes, and the good thing about pasta is it's basically made of papier-mâché. So if you lick it, it will stick to another pasta quite well. So if you are bored on a weekend, what you can do is construct an entire world out of pasta, lasagna sheet houses, and cochineal little heads on lovely penne bodies, and then when you're bored, you can eat it.
That's brilliant. That's absolutely amazing.
Yeah.
What have you made any particular pasta creations that you're proud of?
Yeah, well, I just started with some people, so little penne people with little tortellini heads, which is delicious.
Yeah.
And then I moved on to landscapes. So spaghetti's great for that. Lasagna, obviously, again, is good for that. And there's a whole magical world of shapes out there. And then you don't want to let it get too cold before you eat it. So you do want to make sure it's fresh.
Sure.
But the fun thing is, if you want to create, for example, a pasta volcano, you could make the volcano out of layers of lasagna, and then the tomato sauce is the lava. So
that's really good.
Yeah.
So I should just check then. So the pasta's cooked, so you shouldn't be doing this with dried pasta. You should be doing it with cooked pasta.
Well, you can if you like a crunch, but I think it's best when it's soft because it's more malleable.
Sure,
that
makes sense. Yeah, that makes sense. And also as you said, much harder to eat it if you haven't cooked it first, because then you'd have to cook it. It's very hard to find a pan that will fit your entire sort of reconstruction of Paris or something in pasta.
Exactly, and it was. I'll tell you, actually, it was hard.
Yeah, I bet.
Yeah, and it's something very tragic about seeing the Eiffel Tower slowly flop over.
Yes.
So you can use hard pasta, uncooked pasta for structural reasons.
Yeah, that's good. Is it cheating to use the little spaghetti shapes that are already in characters? So things like my daughter eats the frozen little pasta shapes, as in they're not frozen.
Yes.
They're the characters are frozen, but they're actually not frozen because they're in a tin. It's very confusing.
Yes.
If you don't,
you could freeze them.
You could freeze
and
them,
then it would be frozen.
Frozen pasta shapes, but they're not. They're just
Yeah.
frozen. Anyway, so there's no, but it's so she eats those, but they're already in little shapes of characters that I probably can't mention, or Disney will destroy us. But so I don't. They probably won't, but just in case. So is that cheating? Because then they're already in little shapes, or can you use them as a sort of, to go in the scenery that you've created with other things?
No, you know what I'd say? Absolutely not cheating. I think go for it. I think the more options, the better. The letters as well, spaghetti alphabet letters. You can get a lot of mileage out of that. You could recreate whole books with the right tins of alphabet spaghetti. So
That's
no,
great.
I don't think it's. I mean, the problem there is that you have to get them out of the tomato sauce, so they're a bit more messy to work with. But no, I think go for it. I mean, there's so many options now, isn't there? When I was a child, it was. I mean, we never used to have them anyway, but it was hoops.
Yeah.
It was hoops and letters.
Hoops and letters, yeah. So, and if you mix them together, you had lots of O's, and it was really hard to make words unless they're words that ghosts say. But that was the only words you could do.
Yes, or cows.
Or cows, yes, that's it. Yeah.
Cows and ghosts. That was it. But now there's the world's your oyster. So I don't know what else you can get in a shape, but I assume there's lots and lots of options, and that's the beauty of pasta.
Wonderful. I really like the idea of someone making an entire book out of alphabetti spaghetti, but then you give it to someone.
Sheets.
Yeah, and lasagna sheets, and then you give it to someone to read, and before they get to the last page, you eat it.
Or there's just like a big bite mark out of the last bit, so it ends on a cliffhanger.
I mean, that'd be the most mean revenge you could play on.
It would be.
That'd be incredible. Wow. Well, that is an amazing tip. Thank you. And that is absolutely brilliant. I hope all the listeners will go out and immediately make incredible pasta landscapes. And if you do, please do send in pictures.
Oh my God, yeah.
Please do. Yeah. Now, again, because you've been on this podcast before, thank you for coming back on again. I've asked you these questions before, but you might have different ones. So I'm going to ask you them again, just in case. This is an audio show. As you know, listeners listen to it with their ears, hopefully, and not their bums on their knees. Again, as I say every week, everyone's different, and we don't discriminate. If they want to listen to it with their knees or bums, that's fine. But I wondered if you have a favourite noise that you could give them. That you gave us one last time. Obviously, I didn't know if you had a different one this time.
Yeah, a new favourite noise is ooh. Oh, so that's quite fun.
Okay, well, hang on.
Ooh.
Wow. So
ooh.
What is it?
That's like a backwards. I don't know. I've heard it in my dreams. What do you think it is?
it's pleasing, and yet at the same time slightly unnerving, because I'd be wondering where that's
It's a
coming
bit like
from.
a clanger, I guess.
Yes.
I don't know if the clangers are repeated nowadays. I don't know if
Yes.
they should be. It's the national treasures.
They are indeed. They are indeed. They're whistling all over the TV, I believe, on CBeebies. Yes,
But it's also just
it's like a very quizzical bird or something, isn't it?
Yes, it's sort of like a backwards hoot.
Yeah.
If you want to try it, it's very satisfying.
Oh, it's really lovely. That I like it. It reminds me of
kind of...
now, and if we've got any listeners in Sweden, and I apologise if I get this wrong, but there's one of the many Swedish detective TV shows that came over. One of the lead detectives, when she said, now I can't remember if this is yes or okay, but she'd always just go oh, and that sort of like ooh sounds like it could be the way she says.
It's quite a sing-song language.
Yeah.
So I can see. Can see how you could slot that. I mean, maybe it is a word in another language.
Might well
I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know. It's very pleasing though. It's a really good noise.
Yeah, it's good. What I'm picturing is some kind of exotic Amazonian bird that hasn't been discovered yet.
Yes, yes, almost certainly. I mean, I think that's almost. If you've been hearing it in your dreams as well, it's probably saying "discover me."
Yeah,
you know?
And I will. I'd love to.
Yeah.
So I mean, I'm gonna, as soon as possible, I'm gonna whiz over and just figure it out.
Yeah. Definitely do that. Definitely, and you've got the beta, well, the call, haven't you? The call to kind of lure it in.
Yeah, well, yes, exactly. You know, it would only be sad if it was the last of its kind and it thought I was another bird.
Oh, that would be quite
sad. So I hope that's not. I don't know why I brought that up, because that's just made it all tragic.
Oh, it's quite miserable actually. That was a really lovely story, and now I'm just thinking how sad that would be. Well, there you go. Well, you know, hopefully it's not. Let's just hope there's at least 3 of them, if not more.
I think there'll be loads. There'll be loads. I'm very confident.
Yes, I'm sure. Brilliant. Well, that is a fantastic noise. Thank you for that. And of course, the other thing that I need to ask you once again, it's a family-friendly show. It's suitable for everyone of all possible ages, all the numbers, every number that you can imagine that is suitable for that age. And I just want to double check that you know, if there are any rude words you won't be saying.
Yes, thank you for bringing it up, because I think it is important to establish that I will not be saying fart flaps.
Oh, please don't say fart flaps. That is an awful...
I certainly will not be saying fart flaps anytime soon. And if anyone wants me to say fart flaps, then they're going to have to speak to my lawyers, because fart flaps is not a word I say.
Well, no, I think it's very good. I mean, I would worry that if I had to say fart flaps because you said fart flaps, that this podcast gets shut down.
Well, I mean, every fart flaps, I imagine, would have to be censored. So it'd be fart flaps being beeped out all over the place. Every time someone said fart flaps, then you'd have to make sure it was removed. And that would be a lot of effort just for the word fart flaps.
It would, and it's just be beeps all over the place for every fart flaps. And it would just sound like sort of R2-D2 getting upset or something. It'd be terrible. It'd be a really awful
and you can't have that
situation.
So, no, I will not be saying fart flaps.
Brilliant. Please don't. Thank you for not saying fart flaps. I really appreciate that.
I will not say fart flaps.
You're professional. You know not to do these things. So I appreciate that.
Yes.
Great. Well, now, obviously, the most important question. And, you know, again, I've come to you with this question because I know that you just know how to handle these sorts of... I mean, I saw this. I don't know what to do with it. I know you know what to do with it. That's why I brought it to you. And we have had this emailed in from Anna. And she put aged 100 and then in brackets, just kidding, I'm actually 10. Whoa, Anna. Oh. Really threw me off.
Only 90 years to go and she'll be there.
Yeah, but I mean, that's quite the ploy, isn't it? I was really like, oh, she's 100. What? No, she's 10. And immediately...
Quite the pull back and reveal.
Yeah, I just didn't see it coming. And, pretty shocked by it.
Sneaky.
Very sneaky, but fair enough. It was good. It was a good trick. Well done, Anna. And I'm very impressed. And I'm sure you prank your siblings all the time, or your family with stuff like that. It's woof. Anyway, so Anna, who's actually 10, she has asked... Now, I'm going to try and read this out in the way it's been sent. There are at least... I'd say 11 exclamation marks after this, and then there are so many question marks that I can't even begin to count them. And probably the world's biggest computer couldn't do that either. So she simply says, "Earwax!" So it's
that was
exclamation
that was
marks,
good.
Then question, "Earwax!"
Yeah. No, that was good.
That's it.
What I've heard about the number of exclamation marks, question marks, is that would indicate the amount of earwax that she's talking about, which is a lot.
Wow.
So I'm saying like maybe 5 to 6 pounds of earwax.
Oh my goodness.
I've said that pounds because I think that's how Americans measure things. I don't know if she's American, so.
Sure.
But for British listeners, that's about 6 bags of sugar worth of earwax.
Yes, that's true. And I should just check, if she's American, she'd probably said Earwax. Is that right?
Earwax.
Earwax. That's right. So I want to make sure that that's the. If she is American, I'm saying it. That's a slightly different question, I suppose.
No, absolutely, it would be, yes, because everything that Americans say sounds like it's a question because of the way they speak. It sounds like a question.
That's true.
Well, that is a question.
That's true. Yes.
Is that a question? That was a question. But is this a question? That is also a question. Yeah. So 6 pounds of earwax is a lot of earwax. What you're gonna want to do with that is hopefully it's not in her ears.
Goodness.
Got a big problem there. Unless she's got very big ears and there's room for it, in which case that's fine. That's probably the normal amount.
I mean, I do. If it's in her ears, she won't be able to hear your answer to this question.
Oh my god, that's a good question. That's a good point.
Way. Yeah.
Okay. Tricky. She could be an elephant, though. We don't know she's not.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. Which is why 100 is a very plausible age for an elephant as well. So yeah.
Well, yeah.
That's true.
Exactly.
Yeah.
But yeah, what I would say with earwax is, if you can, just get your head quite warm, and it should hopefully drip out of your ears, and that could clear that up. But I mean, again, if that's your issue, I don't know how to get that information to you.
But I mean,
not in sound form.
No, it's quite worrying. I mean, if it's that much earwax as you say, you have to get your head really warm, wouldn't you? I mean, how warm?
Yeah, and I don't want to suggest anything dangerous, but I would say a hot water bottle over each ear would probably do it.
Wow, that's
with a cover on it.
Yes,
safety first,
of course.
Not a bare rubber one.
No, that's
hey,
true.
Tiernan, have you ever Here's a question. Here's one of those reveal something about yourself questions. Have you ever? Right. You know how sometimes you pick your nose and then you put it in your mouth.
Yeah. We all know about that.
Did you ever do that and think, I wonder if earwax tastes as good, and then try it and then it didn't?
It's disgusting, isn't it?
Yeah, it's horrible. It's really bad.
It's one of the worst things.
Not a quality taste.
No.
And what a sad thing that is, because how much clearer would our ears all be if we could just
eat it,
have a little snack.
And also, it'd be so nice to have snacks that you don't have to go and buy because they're in your ears. Yeah,
your body makes them.
It's one of my big issues with earwax is that, okay, now everyone that sort of knows about biology and doctors and everything will say it does have a use because it's useful to be in your ears, blah blah blah.
Yeah, protect your ear.
You can't have it as a snack, and also you can't make a candle with it. You can't.
No, you can't. Not well. Maybe you could if you had 6 pounds of it, but not with the average amount. No,
and it would smell horrible.
I mean, I guess you could collect it over some years, but yeah, no, the smell wouldn't be very nice. A lot of downsides, really. I guess it's like the appendix of the head. No one knows why it's there. I mean, doctors know, but I don't know.
Yeah,
I refuse to listen.
Yeah, but I mean, Anna is asking. Well, I don't think she's asking why it's there. She's just sort of asking earwax.
Asking earwax, and what can we say to that except yes?
Yes, it's a very good answer, isn't it?
Yes.
I'm going to be controversial now because.
Okay.
I'm going to be controversial because she's put earwax as all one word. But what if her question was ear wax? Isn't I would wax? Or
should you wax your ears?
Maybe.
No.
Should you wax your ears? Yeah.
My immediate answer is no. They are a bit fluffy, I believe, on the lobe. Sometimes, but no, I strongly advise not. Or does she mean does your ear wax as the moon does?
Yes, maybe that's what she means. Yeah, that's very true. I can't remember. Is that getting? I can't remember the waxing and the waning.
I can't remember.
Which one's smaller?
I can't remember, but an ear is a sort of crescent shape, so
yeah,
it kind of makes sense. Well, it's kind of like it's kind of more like a pasta shape, actually, if I want to tie it into everything I've been talking about.
Yes. You could make pasta.
I mean, that's the thing about you could have a pasta ear. You could if you did one of those macaroni portraits that
yes, of course,
that we've all done at one point in our lives.
Yes, we have.
So but I hope that helps. I hope she feels like that was a satisfaction.
I can't get my head away from the idea that if your ear wax. There must be points of the month, like a moon does, where your ears would
Mm.
get bigger and where they'd get smaller.
Well, do you know? I mean, this is one of those. I've heard this is true. Your ears never stop growing.
Yeah, I've heard that too.
Yeah, but I think I'm really scared that's true. Well, actually, no. This isn't very good for visuals. But I've got really stupidly small ears, so I'll show Tin and then he can describe how stupidly small
let's
they
have a
are.
look.
Here we go.
Oh, those are very small. Those are very small ears.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, you see, I get my wife laughs at me for my small ears. See, look. But
Yeah,
yours,
no, I'd
yours
say it
are
was
smaller,
normal
I'd
small.
say. Yeah.
They are. They are.
Yeah, but then do they get like? Is there sort of points like the moon where they get bigger and you can hear more stuff, and then they get smaller again?
Yeah, not as big as I'd like. They're not useful like
Mm.
Dumbo's is. You can't fly with them. But yeah, no, they do at that sort of points in the month. Yeah.
And I suppose I should also ask
So
because
it's
you
not
just
all
said that
bad.
they keep growing. When you were a baby, did you
Mm.
have basically no ears? And then are you
I
hoping
guess
to
I
have
mustn't have
sort of
done.
normal sized ears by the time you're 100?
I'm gonna have to look at a picture because I don't remember a lot of sounds from that
Mm.
time either. So was that because I didn't really have any ears? Yeah. And by the time I'm 100, they'll sort of be nice and I can kind of fold them up like a nice hat
That'd be
when it's
nice,
cold.
wouldn't it?
Yeah.
That would be lovely.
Looking forward to that.
Yeah, I that's the only thing is I would really hope that if ears do keep growing, like I've never seen like a
Mm.
really old person like the Queen. The Queen should have ears that are like an elephant's ears, shouldn't she? She should be like flying
Well, we
around like
don't
Dumbo.
we don't really know that she doesn't because we don't see them a lot.
That's
And
true, yeah.
for all we know, 'cause she wears a lot of very fancy hats.
Oh,
For all we know, they could be under there.
that's a really good point. I never thought about that actually.
Mm.
Yeah.
Mm.
Yes, that is true. I'm trying to think of some other sort of really like famous, very old bit. Like David Attenborough's quite old, but he's often in the Arctic wearing a big hood, and so he could well have his ears
Mm.
tucked in the back.
Yeah, exactly. I don't want to be a conspiracy theorist about this, but it's certainly raising a lot of questions, isn't it?
It's a lot of questions. Yeah,
Yeah.
a lot of really important. If anything, Anna's one question has actually raised more questions than answers.
Well, she did put a lot of question marks, so I feel like she wanted a lot of answers.
That's true. Yeah, that is true.
Yeah.
That is true. I mean, it's been a pretty deep conversation, I have to say. And my biggest worry is that, as you said, all of this, Anna's just got a severe earwax problem and actually won't hear any of this whatsoever, and it won't remotely be useful
Yeah.
to her.
A call for help.
Yeah.
Hopefully somebody else she knows will hear this and explain to her
Yeah.
all of our very useful information.
I'm trying to think if
and
there's other
advice.
ways, because like I don't know if I need to sort of like make little like it's a sort of vibration noises that she could feel in her nose or something. If we could kind of tap a bit, and I don't know, there must be some other way she could.
Yeah, if the frequency is low enough, like Beethoven, when he lost his hearing, he would compose through frequency, so he could feel the vibrations, and that's how he'd know what note it was. So if you kind of go like maybe she can hear that.
Well, hopefully that's reached her. I do hope that was very good. That was a very good low. That was a really good low frequency noise.
Yeah, all the noises. So yeah, we'll just have to see, I guess. Hopefully she'll get back to us and let us know.
Yes, I do. Anna, please do send us updates on your earwax situation. And what I've been told many times, don't put a cotton bud in there, even though cotton buds are the perfect shape for an ear, and they look like they shouldn't be used on anything else because they're perfect ear shapes. You're not meant to put them in your ear.
Apparently, I don't know anyone who buys them for any other purpose, but apparently that's what you're not meant to do.
That's the one thing you're not meant to use them for is your ear, and they look like they perfectly go in ears, and that is really confusing. Yeah.
So do fingers. So
that's true. That is true. Yeah. So don't do either of those things, basically. Brilliant. I mean,
unless the doctor tells you.
Yes, that's it. Unless the doctor tells you, and they apparently think they know what earwax is for or some nonsense.
Yeah, and this is going to surprise you, but neither of us have any medical training. Unless Tiernan has secret medical training he never told anyone about.
Well, I've currently got a plaster on my finger. I don't want to boast, but I've got a plaster on my finger right now, and I put it on myself. So
that's very, what? That is good.
Yeah, Yeah, I'm quite. I mean, it's not entirely. It's slightly wonky. I can't really show you on the Zoom camera, but it's slightly wonky. But it's covering the cut on my finger, so I feel like I'm basically a doctor now, I think.
Yeah, no, I think that's basically what it is, isn't it?
Yeah,
Doctoring.
Yeah, it's basically the same.
Yeah.
Doctoring, and also knowing what earwax is, I think, and those are the two.
Yeah.
That's why I haven't passed.
And then you've passed the exam, yeah.
Yeah.
You get to put doctor in all your forms.
Yes, and then you get to listen to
Very
people's
exciting.
heartbeats and go, That's I think that's
Yep.
Yeah.
My sister's getting a PhD, which means she's going to be called doctor. But if she's on any flights and someone needs a doctor, she won't be of any use. So that's the kind of doctor you really want to be. One that won't get troubled by stuff, but you can still write doctor.
Yeah, it's always that tricky question when they say, "Is there a doctor on the plane?" And like, what if you're like a doctor like Doctor Who, and you're like, "Yeah, I'll just go back in time, or I'll go forward in time." And it's like, well, this person really needs help because they're feeling very sick. Oh, sorry, I've got to go back in time.
Yeah, I mean, Doctor Who, that would be much more useful than her expertise would be. So I think you've actually thought of a really good example there.
Right. Okay. Yeah. Sure. Yeah. I suppose
she could talk. She could talk if they were feeling unwell. She could talk to them about the history of heritage and tourism within that, and they might be interested in that, so that might distract them from whatever's happening.
Yeah,
but that's as much use as should be.
Well, that's very good, and also I should say that does sound genuinely very interesting. But if they're not interested in it, they might fall asleep, and then often you feel really a lot better.
It's a win-win.
So
exactly,
pretty good.
You can't lose.
Yeah.
And then she gets free plane tickets. Is that what you get if you?
I think you just get a plane.
If you help someone on a plane,
I think they give you a plane.
I hope so. Yeah.
And then you can you put your gerbils in it, and they can have a lovely run around.
Yeah. It's a win-win.
It's a win-win. It's a win-win.
Everyone's happy.
Well, and much like I think all your answers to Anna's question, it's an absolute win-win. I think that whatever answer is suitable for Anna, I think she'll have found the one that she needs. Hopefully, somewhere if she can hear this show at all.
Yeah. Fingers crossed.
Fingers crossed. Brilliant. Well, thank you for joining us again, Eleanor. I knew had to get you back specifically for this one, and I was right to do so. So.
Thank you for having me. Yeah. And buy fizzy cheese today. From all good cheese retailers, and some bad ones as well. Actually,
you can't forget that it's important to know they stock it in some really terrible retailers as well. So.
They do, yeah.
I'm
not fussy.
No.
The safe and effective way to clean and dry your ears.
Thank you tons to Eleanor Morton for all the possible answers that you could have to the question of earwax. And I do hope, Anna, that were you able to listen to this week's show, then it was helpful. Good luck with all the earwax. And if you do manage to remove it, why not sculpt it into a small statue of your frowny grown-ups, as a little gift for them? They will love it. Of course, once you've done that, they'll be more than happy to help you. Email us any questions, jokes, or anything at all to podcast@comedyclubforkids.co.uk, and it could well end up on a future episode. If you also fancy giving this show a nice review on Apple Podcasts, Stitcher, Acast, or wherever you get your podcasts from, I don't know, the bin, the supermarket, that funny dog that sells popcorn, you know the one, wherever, please just do hit the 5 stars and write something nice or just silly. And if your grown-ups also fancy buying us a beverage or 12 for making you laugh as we do this here thing for free, then they can do that at Ko-fi.com/Comedy Club for Kids. I'd like a big glass of jorin juice, please. Yow, nits happening again. Why vid hanaf. Jim gustoing lo tivlit take hiss han bava hiskit. Ye suno wexteek. Yay. You have been listening to Comedy Club for Kids presents. Radio nonsense, radio nonsense, radio nonsense, radio nonsense, radio nonsense. It's the end.